Hi folks, I'm Nathan with Two Guys in a Ride, and welcome to our car tech how-to video on the 2023 Volkswagen Golf GTI, and this is the SE trim level. Today I'll be covering the driver's information and infotainment screens. I'll do a general overview, show you how to access information, and do a deep dive. Let's get started.
Today we're working with our friends at Mankato Nissan in Mankato, Minnesota.
All right, so this digital cockpit is 10.25 inches across, and it's beautiful, and you can manipulate things on the left, you can manipulate things on the right, you can change the overall view, and you can change some information in the middle of the screen. So to start with, the way it's set up right now, of course, we've got an RPM gauge on the left, we've got a speedometer on the right, you got a digital speedometer inside that, you got your gear selector on the left, as well as your drive mode that you're in. Now, down below, of course, you got your fuel gauge, what your range is, you got some of your safety systems, you got your heated steering wheel indicator, and then, of course, your odometer. And then in the middle right now, of course, we've got some information on turn-by-turn directions on a navigation course, and then you've got some trip information. So, to manipulate everything, you're going to use the buttons on the right side of the steering wheel. So, and you've got a couple of them, and I'm going to start with the most basic, and that is the view button. So if I press the view button, it changes everything on the dash, and you've got, I think, about 5. So you get this, then you get this, and then this, and then this, which I'd really like, and then back to this. Now, you can also, if you just use the up and down arrows in any one of the view modes that you're in, you can change some things. For instance, we have this with just the digital speedometer. If I didn't have turn-by-turn directions running, that would just disappear. Let's see, what else do we got here? We've got a clock, and the speed reading sign is down below. You've got sort of a calm screen. And then you get this navigation within the gauges between them. I love that. And then we're back to here. All right, so how do you control the information inside of the RPM gauge and what is now the speedometer? Well, you're going to use either the left arrow to control the stuff that's in the RPM gauge or the right arrow to control stuff that's in the speedometer gauge. So I'm going to start by going over here. And if I go through, these are the things that are currently selected to display in here. So I just have to pick one, and I can go down to here, fuel tank display, and there I get it in my RPM gauge. Press that left button again. Okay, I can get any one of these. So we're just going to go through them real quick to show you what they look like. So I'm going to go down to no display, and then you get this. Go back, here's your economy. Gotta go back, average economy, go back, travel time distance, average speed, gear display. So then if I shift, you're gonna see that. Okay, then if I go back to the left, fuel tank display, I showed you, assist systems, okay, operating temps, which is really cool. You get transmission, oil, and engine temp. You can have navigation just show up in here. You don't get the map, but get your turn-by-turns. You can control audio, and while I'm at the screen to show you, now if I go over to these right and left arrows here, if I click a couple times and then wait, it changes. If you want to change modes, like you want to switch from radio to something else, then you have to go to the infotainment screen to actually change the mode. Doesn't seem to be any button here that will actually change the mode. So like from radio to Bluetooth or anything. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the left, down here, when I hook up my telephone, you'll see all of your telephone information there. You know how to, to make a call, your phone directory, all that stuff. Okay, I can get a speed, digital speedometer right inside of that. And go back. You can just have a clock. You can look at your acceleration. You can look at performance. You can look at the boost. Go back. Okay, on start stop here. Okay, it's on due to just because I'm sitting idling and I'm running different systems. So, all right, you can get a cool G meter. You can get just a compass, which I like. And then you can, of course, get destination information. Tells you what time you'll arrive and how many miles it's at till your target. Then, if I go down to settings and I click the left arrow, everything that you just saw is showing up in a red box with a check mark in it. Okay? There are a few things that are not check marked. I think most of them on here are, they all are in here. Okay. But if you didn't want something, like you don't use certain things, you can simply press the OK button, uncheck it, and then when you are, if I go down here to back, and I go down here, that particular item will not show up. See, trip information is not there anymore. Okay, so that is how you control what's in the left gauge, and you do the same thing to the right gauge. So if I press the right arrow, you're going to notice a lot of the same things. In fact, you can have all the same things show up here. No display, travel time, distance, that's what I took off of the other one, average speed, operating temps, navigation, audio, telephone speed. So you can see all of these, and the reason they give you both is that now you can turn certain things off on the left and certain things off on the right, and then they won't display the same content. But they give you the ability to place whatever you want on the left side and whatever you want on the right side. So it's a really, really, really nice feature. So I'm just going to change a couple of these things here. So we'll go here and we'll go to, say, time. Okay, now if I change the view button, you're going to notice that those things stay. So whatever you change will stay no matter which view mode you're in. Okay? And it doesn't, you don't have to be in this view mode to see it. So if I'm in this view mode and I press the left button, I'm going to get the same menu. Okay? So I can click there and I can change that right in that window. So again, any view that you're in, you can change what's on the left and you can change what's on the right. All right, so let's go back to the view mode here where we were. Okay, now remember in this screen I was able to press the up and down arrows and change a few things that were in the center. Okay, if I change the view mode, okay, and I press the up and down arrows, this is what this is going to do is zoom in and zoom out of your navigation map, because why would you be in this mode unless you wanted a full screen navigation? Okay, now again, let's say that you really want to see the whole screen. Okay, so you go to the left here and you're going to go down to no display. See how that moves? And you can do the same thing to the right side. Get it back, you just press this arrow and we'll just go to one of these here, gear display. So you can have an actual full screen, and you'll notice that you have a digital speedometer on the bottom right. So they've given you everything you need, okay, to have all the information you need down below the map. But you have the option to have those squares on or off. But in this particular view, this does not change the screen, rather it zooms in and out of the map. Now if I press view again, Okay, and I'm back to this view. If I press the up and down arrows in this one, okay, here I can turn on lane assist, and I can have adaptive cruise control, okay, or I can have regular cruise control, so you can switch back and forth, and then side assist, rear traffic, front assist, and then of course I'm just going to close that out. So there you get some of your safety features that will show up in this screen if you're driving. So if I turn my cruise on, you can now see this is a safety assist screen where I've got my gap setting right here. I can increase it or decrease it. Okay, your lane assist will show up in here, all that kind of stuff. So that is why you can access those things in that particular screen. Okay, so now on this screen, if I go up or down, there's going to be no change. This is sort of your calm screen, so it's not going to allow you to add any more information. Press the view button again. If I go up or down on this particular screen, I can choose to have my gear display, my speed, or a lap timer. Okay, so I think right now it's set to speed, but if I went to gear display, I'd have the gear display in the center, still get the RPM gauge, and if I go up to say speed, then it puts a digital speedometer there instead. So depending on what view mode you are in, these two up and down arrows do a few different things. Over to the left of the screen, you've got your light controls, and then max defrost and rear defrost, and then your front fog light buttons. Those are all just over on the left. Those are physical touch capacitive buttons. Okay? All right. Well, that is it for the driver's information screen. Next, we're going to move over to the infotainment screen. All right, so the infotainment screen on the GTI is a 10-inch screen, and it is the latest MIB3 Volkswagen infotainment system. All right, so the way it's set up is you've got sort of three home screens. This is one view. You notice I've got three dots down here. You're also going to notice that because it's motion sensitive, as I bring my hands up to the screen, text will appear in some of the icons. So like vehicle and telephone now appear, and then they disappear when I take my hand away. So this is your home button right here. Okay, this indicates that there's a phone in the wireless charger, and then this button here is notifications. Okay, now you got heated and ventilated seats right here in your climate. So you click here, and then your actual buttons are over here. So you can adjust the heat in your seat, or you can turn on the ventilation in your seat. And it's the same for the passenger side. Now you can use the plus or minus to change the temperature. You can also just click and start sliding. All right, and then you can just click the X, and that will disappear. All right, so down here you have all physical buttons, but they are capacitive touch, which is not my favorite thing. However, I do want to point out what they are, and I want to point out the fact that I've seen several reviews, and no one seems to be able to find a mute button, but there is a mute button on the physical buttons. So where it has the power symbol, if you just tap it once, that's your mute button. If you just tap and hold, now it turns the screen off. Tap and hold again, and it comes back on. But that is your mute button. All right. Now, this button here is temperature for the driver, temperature for the passenger. And you just slide, and you can just see that it changes. Okay? And if I go over to the passenger, I can do the same thing. So this is a dual zone auto climate control system. All right. In the middle is your volume control. And if you do a swipe from the far right to the far left, it will mute as well. Okay, but that is one touch right there. That's your mute button. Okay, now I've got three screens. So if I go here, I get these icons. Now you're gonna look and say, why are they red? Well, they're red because the colors in the ambient lighting changes not only the dashboard, driver's dashboard, but also the infotainment screen. So for instance, if I go to drive modes and I say I want eco, now everything's blue. And this is the point that I'm not really sold on. I kind of wish you could do this. I like the fact you can change them. I just wish that this screen wasn't connected to the driver's screen in that way. So for the sake of filming, we're going to leave it on the blue screen. That seems to be blue color, excuse me. That seems to be coming across a little better. But that's the second screen. Now, okay, now I'll go swipe back. I got my split screen. Swipe again. And then I get these icons right here. So I've got a phone. I've got information since I've started, but I can swipe. I got long-term driving information and since refueling. I can click on it. It comes big screen. Right? Now, I am going to go back, and that's your functions as a back button as well. Then up here, I have got different icons. To customize what shows up in this screen, that's the capacitive touch. All right, I tapped a button. All right, what you're going to do to change these icons to things that are most relevant to you is you're going to click and hold. These are your choices. So you say, well, I want climate control right here. And then you have two screens within that you can swipe. I can't do it right now. Whoops. Okay. If I go up here and select sensory fuel, I want route information. And then up here, under legal notices, I'm going to have... let's see, sound control. Okay, and then actually, let's put vehicle up there. Radio media, I'm going to leave, and then help, but I could select that and change it. I'm going to go here. I'm going to see what happens if I just delete it. Okay, now that's the screen I was on a minute ago. However, if I go over to the left, I can now do the same thing for this home screen. And that's the two you can customize. So you can change what shows up here. You notice vehicle disappeared because I deleted it. So I might say, well, let's put it back in. All right, now exit out. And the screen's changed. Okay, so that's really neat that you can customize the screen that way. Okay, now I am going to press this and we're going to go to these apps. So first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to take a look at radio media. And the way it's set up is that it has radio functions here and then other media here. So if I go here, I can just click on different stations. You can mark a favorite right here, and then you can save it by pressing the plus button. You want to look at stations, but not an FM. You can look at AM stations. You can look at Sirius XM, and you can also look at internet radio. Okay. So again, you want to save a favorite, click and hold, hit the plus button. All right, let's go back. So that's how you're going to save a favorite. Let's look at how you tune here. If I go back to, just say FM, again, I can scroll through these ones right here. So I can just scroll through the different available stations right here. And I can now see which ones are my favorites because they have the hearts by them. Okay, I can change the frequency and the genre here, but I can also go right to here and I can just slide tune. Or I can click once. I think if I click and hold, yep, it does a scan to the next station. Okay. You can use the arrows if you want to go dot by dot. And then you just hit save when you get there. So that's how you tune it. All right. So the next question is then, how do I adjust the sound? Because this has a 9-speaker, 480 watt, 12 channel amplifier, Harman Kardon premium sound system. And it sounds great. It's also got a subwoofer. So how do you adjust all that sound? Well, to do that, you're going to need to go back and you're going to need to go sound it. So I wish they would put that in right in there, you know, like a sound button right in the radio screen or the media screen, but you can make a shortcut out of it. And I'll show you another place you can make up to 4 shortcuts that you use commonly. But here's where you adjust the graphic equalizer. And again, it's just a click and drag. So that's the sound. If I go down here, I could change the focus by dragging it to a particular area. I can also go to sound focus. You can just click a seat. Guess the driver's always going to hear, except for unless you put it to the rear. So that's another way to do the balance fader, basically. And then if I go to surround, okay, now here I can go from stereo. I should be able to drag this. Right now it's not moving, but I should be able to drag it between stereo and surround. So it adds how much surround you get versus how much stereo sound you get. Now, under volume, this is where you're not only going to set the volume for the stereo, but a lot of other things, like your voice command. You can change the volume here.
Voice operation volume. Voice operation volume.
Okay, speed dependent volume increase. So when that is working, the faster the car gets, the louder the ambient noises in the car, even though it's very well insulated. And so that automatically increases your stereo volume, tries to keep it the same in your ears, no matter if you're at a stop or at, highway speeds. Maximum startup volume. I told you a couple minutes ago that every time I clicked on a radio station, it actually automatically turned up the volume. That is as low as I can get it, is 3. I wish they would put that at 0. But if not, go down here, infotainment system volume lowering while parking. Okay, to allow you to concentrate a little bit more, you can, that one you can actually go to 0. I wish that one would go to 0 as well. And then under voice guidance, if I click here, you can change some of your voice guidance things. Like you can turn it off. You can say, I want it comprehensive. Like it gives you all the details. Just brief, notification tone only, or off. Okay. During calls, do you want it turned on, notification tone only, or off? If you turn it off and like you have a navigation turn, it's not going to tell you. If you say notification tone only during phone calls, then it's just going to beep at you. Depends on what your preference is. And then what that volume is. Now, okay, then the last category, Bluetooth audio. I can't change right now because I don't have my phone hooked up, but that just will set a basic level for your Bluetooth audio coming in from your phone. You can still adjust it manually. Okay, hit this. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It has AM and FM. It has HD radio. I'm going to take my phone. I got an iPhone right now, and I'm just going to go right to my settings. I'm going to go right to Bluetooth. Make sure it's turned on. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of my Bluetooth list. Now, when I've done all that, I'm going to come back here and click on phone. Okay? So, if I look down, my VW 8016 is there. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit pair. It's going to ask you on your phone if you want to sync your contacts and favorites. You would want to click allow. I'm going to click don't allow because I don't want that on there. Okay, and then this is an important screen. If you select Bluetooth hands-free, it's not going to allow you to hook to Apple CarPlay. However, if you hook to Apple CarPlay, in order to do that, you have to click on that. Now, watch your phone, because you should get another message on your phone, and it'll ask you if you want to use CarPlay with this car. You just say, use CarPlay. Okay, now it should be almost done. In Apple CarPlay, see, that's cool. I love it that that icon shows up when your phone's actually charging. In Apple CarPlay, the way this works is these are your most frequently used icons, the things you use last, okay? This gives you a split screen view or an all app view. Okay, there's my split screen. There's my apps. And basically, the kind of apps that's going to pick up from my phone and let me use are anything that has to do with navigation or media. And not video content, but audio content. So audiobooks and music, podcasts, that kind of stuff. This little icon takes you back to the VW system here. Okay. However, if I just click that, I can get right back even easier. And now let's talk about the vehicle's navigation system, because this does have built-in navigation and you can see it in both the driver and the infotainment screen at the same time. So let's just quickly go up here to destinations for a minute, and we're just going to do a search. So we're just going to go here, Dairyland, okay, what's that? Okay, we'll use space bar and we'll do Dairy Queen. There we go. Start. So this is what it's going to look at. You can mark it as a favorite, and that will save it in your favorites. So under media, remember we looked at favorites, all these will show up as well. Okay, you can look at the overall view or just hit start.
Please drive to the route shown.
And the way this works is this little icon will increasingly get closer and closer and closer to the flag. In this case, it looks like an X, until you're at your destination. All right, let's stop it. Just click on the X. Cancels your navigation. That is a cool little thing. A lot of navigation systems, you got to click on the screen, you got to go into something else to stop it. You can always use voice command and say cancel navigation, but I like it, they just put an X right there for you. Now, in navigation, if you use the vehicle's built-in navigation, which is nice, you can rotate it, you can zoom in, it's very responsive. Okay, if I click here, I can zoom in a little bit, okay, and if I click here, I can change the volume of the navigation voice. I can set this to auto, night, or day as far as the brightness goes. Auto's typically the best, but for our filming sake, I'm just going to leave it right here. Now, under settings in navigation, you have some one-time settings that you can make. So let's look at these quickly. Route options. Okay, do you never want to travel on a highway? Well, if you click that on, anytime you program a route, it will not take you on a highway. And the same thing for all of these. Avoid toll roads, ferries, avoid routes with time or seasonal restrictions, use HOV or carpool lanes. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Avoid traffic disruption. Right now it's set to ask. So if it sees that there's a traffic issue ahead, it's actually going to ask you, would you like to take an alternative route? There's a traffic congestion ahead. And then you can click yes or no. You could just turn that always on and it does it automatically for you. It just reroutes you without telling you. I like it when it asks you, but that's just me. Fuel warning, you want that on or off? Probably a good thing to leave it on. Road signs on highways, you want it to read those, yes or no? Right now it's yes, click it off, it won't read the road signs. Now under road signs, you can say I want them to show it on the map. Okay. Speed alert. Okay. Well, if you say you want it on, it's either going to be visual or visual and audio. And then you can go down here and say, well, don't warn me until I'm 5 over. Or don't warn me until I'm 3 over, or warn me when I go 1 mile an hour past the speed limit. I'm going to turn that off. All right, so those are one-time settings. That's route guidance. If I go to voice guidance, we've seen this screen one other time. I can actually turn the voice guidance off completely, and that means I just have to look at the screen to know where I'm going. Comprehensive here gives you like the full description of everything. Brief is just kind of, this is what you need to know. Turn left. Okay? Comprehensive might be in 400 feet, turn left on Adams Street. Okay? Or you can just have it go bump and give you a tone when there's a turn. Or you can turn it off completely. During calls, you can have that on or off or notification tone only so that it isn't interrupting you. And what is the volume of the voice guidance?
Voice guidance volume.
Okay, you can set that. Basic functions. Okay. The one I want to show you under here is set preferred POI category. So what shows up on your map, your navigation map, automatically, no matter where you are, no matter what route you're in, no matter if there's a route plotted or not. Some handy things. Gas stations. If you do a lot of traveling, rest area. Okay, but these are all the things that you can just turn on. So they will always show up. Oh, let's turn on Steakhouse. Okay, so now if I go back to my map, you're going to notice that now I've got some icons showing up. See? So if I go down there and I say, okay, Buffalo Wild Wings, and I can hit start and go right to it. All right, that's navigation. Let's press the home button and let's go under vehicle. Now under vehicle, you've got 3 different tabs on the top. You've got 3 different tabs on the left. So let's just start with data since we're on there. So this is the data it's going to show you. Hey, how many hours you've been driving, what's your miles per gallon, average speed, and how many miles till empty. If I say long term, okay, now it gives me a little different information, and I can say, what is the same information since I last refueled? Now, let's go up to status. Under status, you get 3 things. You can't rotate the car or do anything. The auto start stop, you can turn that off right here if you want, although you can have that right in the driver's screen if you want as well. And then it tells you that service is good. All right, under vehicle itself. Now this one, you can rotate around. So I'm gonna show you something interesting here. Since this is the GTI, you may want to turn off your traction control. So, very interesting because there is no button to do that on the outside. So what you do is you go to this vehicle button, you go to exterior, you flip it around until it gives you brakes. You click on brakes, and here you can go activate it, and then you can change it to sport or off altogether. So I'll show you a way to make a shortcut for that. But that's like, ooh boy, that's a long ways. But you can click on things here and you can like, okay, what can I do with the headlight? So this is your auto lights, and you know, a lot of cars have those today, and they just turn on automatically as it gets dark. The problem is a lot of cars you can't adjust when it turns on. It just gets so dark. So for instance, in my car, I can't adjust them, and I think they come on way too late. I'd like them on earlier. Well, here you can say, I want my lights to come on earlier at night, you know, before it gets super dark. Or, nope, let's make sure it's pitch black before my lights come on. Or you can select medium. All right, automatic headlight control during rain, on or off. Convenience turn signals, you can have those on or off. So any one of these, you can just spin around and you can then see those. There's 4 pages. So this is a screen you can go in, and they all work the same way, and you can make adjustments for them. I won't show them all to you, but you know that there's 4 pages and 4 different things that you can click on and look at. Okay, under interior, you kind of get the same thing. You can go to interior lighting, and you can say instrument cluster panel lighting. Guess you have to use the arrows. And you can say, as far as the design, you want it bright or you want it dark. Okay, dark just changed this screen. Doesn't change the driver's screen. Okay. Cockpit. You can have eco tips on. You can reset the sense start driving data or reset long-term driving data. Okay, that's where you're going to reset that. I'm going to press the home button here. Let's talk about ambient lights. So you have some basic presets. This is mood. So you can say I want it infinity. And again, this changes your driver's dashboard as well. You can have eternity, desire, euphoria, vitality, automatic based on your drive modes, which is where we had it set. You can turn them off completely. Okay, but you can also say custom. Okay, so and when you click on custom, it doesn't bring anything up, but if you go under here, this is where you can set the custom color, and then when you click on custom, that's what it brings up, is whatever you set. Okay, and under brightness, you can change the intensity, and that is a click drag. Okay, let's go back to the home screen here. So let's go to scroll up for one, which is unusual. Usually you scroll left or right, but here are settings. Cool. So here's where you can adjust your screen. You can have a touch tone or not. tone for other buttons, display time and standby mode, rear bench seat reminder, animation when finger near screen. All these things you can turn on or off right here, okay? And then if I go into date and time, you can set it from here, and this is where you need to go. Typically you can click on the clock and it takes you right to this. In this car it doesn't. So that's where you're going to change your time and date. Your language changes right here, and then the units, and that's what most people want to see. Okay, you can change those. You just click on it and you got your options there. Okay, let's see, under volume you get a few more options right there, but that's where you're going to change all the units. Okay, this is where you can set up your Wi-Fi. This does have a built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot, so if you sign up for this plan you can use that. You can look at different mobile devices right here. Now this is an interesting page because right now my phone is set to Bluetooth and the Android Auto is set to be the one that is Android Auto. However, if I click right here on mine and say use Apple CarPlay, it's going to take the Android phone off of Android Auto and put mine back on Apple CarPlay. So you can flip back and forth, you just can't have both phones hooked at the same time to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can restore factory settings if you ever need to, if settings really go wonky. But that is where all those are. So last one is if I have the assist systems here, it'll show me the screen. And what happens is if I click on anything in blue, okay, I can say, okay, lane change system active or not. It grays out the car if it's not active. And I can change the brightness, and what this refers to is the lights in your mirror. It changes the light, the brightness of them when a car's passing you. If I click on this, front assist auto emergency braking, I can turn it off. I don't want to turn it off, but if I hit confirm it would. Display distance warning, okay? You can turn that off if you want. And then up here, the adaptive cruise control, what's the gap I want? Okay, and you do have a gap adjustment on the left side of your steering wheel as well, but you can set it right there. Okay, now, if I click on the speed limit sign, dynamic road design, I can have it visual and audio, or off. And then if I turn the warning on, I can say, well, alert me when I'm more than 5 miles an hour over. Let's take a look at the back camera. So I put it into reverse, and you've got this picture. You do not get a 360 view, but you do get the parking sensors front and rear. So you do have dynamic swivel guidelines. You notice you have one that stays static and then ones that curve. And it shows you in this picture kind of where the tires are going to go, and if there's something in an obstacle in your way, front or rear. Now, if I click here, I can also change to this mode here, okay? And I get rid of my dynamic swivel guidelines, but I get a wider view than I do here. Okay, I can turn off the beeping from the parking sensors right here. And then if I go here, I can make some adjustments to the camera. And I like it that they put it right in the camera, so I can change colors a little bit. I can change the tint. And I can change the brightness of the screen. We'll just kind of leave them all in the middle there. And if I go to settings, park distance control, front volume and rear volume, I can set that. So what is it gonna, how loud is it gonna beep at me when it senses something? And then do I want the infotainment system lowered when I'm parking? And we saw that somewhere else, but that's there. Maneuver braking can be turned on or off, and rear traffic alert can be turned on or off there as well. Now, I am going to put it back into park. You do have a, right below the infotainment screen, you have 5 buttons. One of them is your hazard. If I click on the one that says menu with a P by it, this brings up my camera automatically, even though I'm in park. Okay, this does not have a front-mounted camera. Okay, what you can do here is turn your parking sensors on or off. I want to show you how to make some shortcuts, because some things in the car you have to dig into a few menus. So if I just pull down from the top of the screen, we've been seeing this a lot, the notifications keep popping up. Now, you can have up to 4 shortcuts, and how you create them is you just click on any single one of them, and after a second, these will pop up. These are what you can replace up here. So for instance, I want that traction control there. So I click and hold, go up, and I'm going to replace voice guidance. So now I can turn off traction control just by swiping down and clicking on my shortcut. And it works the same for all of these. Swipe down, and I'm right into the menu, and I can turn it off from there. So that is it on the infotainment screen, on the driver's information screen, on the 2023 Golf GTI. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.